morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you very much for joining us for this huge Labor Day weekend spectacular.
That's
with
right.
With me, as always,
Ben Vanel here. Everyone's got their feet up. They're taking a much-needed public holiday. And what better to entertain themselves with than Filthy Casuals?
100%.
Up-to-date, up-to-the-minute news source for all things. Video games, entertainment, news, politics. We cover it all here.
We sort of will be in this episode,
Yeah.
We will be veering into some territory that we don't go into all that often, and you could say that when we do, we get in trouble. Yes, it is a public holiday. All of the regular working stiffs out there, they've got their feet up. It's a beautiful day outside. I can see out the window. Probably a fair few people down at, off the top of my head, the Studley Park Boathouse.
Oh,
maybe a great day to rent a little boat and go out on the water. But not us.
No.
We're sitting in two darkened rooms talking about video games, as is our lot in life, because Mondays is the day that we record.
Yeah.
So there's no days off for us.
No, there's never a day
how it
off. Yeah, we never take days off. I'm sure we've said this before, but we meet up and record every single day, and we only release one regular episode to the public and one bonus episode to Patreons every week, but we never stop. We couldn't.
Yes.
We love it too much.
We do 7 episodes a week,
Yep.
and then we decide which one we think is the best one out of those 7, and we put that up.
Yeah.
It's actually, I mean, as far as I know, it's sort of the only way of doing it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear from people if they have a suggestion for like a different way that you could do a once a week podcast. But as far as I know, that's what that's how everyone's doing it.
That's right.
You know, Mark Maron. There's like, you know, he did a lot. He released a lot of episodes over his career, but when you think about that, there's like actually 7 times that amount in the vault of ones that he never released.
Yeah.
It's quite staggering.
It's harder for him because he had to get a different guest for every single day.
Yes. And all those people he's complaining about, you know, they never came on and they knocked him back like Jon Stewart. It's like, for all we know, he did one with Jon Stewart and just, you know, it was just one of the ones that's sitting in the vault that he was like, nah, I think this one with Ronnie Chang's a bit better this week. I'll put that one out instead.
Yeah. But it's just us two. Scheduling's an absolute dream. All we have to do is set aside 3 to 4 hours every single day of the week.
Sometimes remote, sometimes in person, depending on how we're feeling, what we got on for the rest of the day. But we got a big week of video games to talk about for you lovely people that listen.
That's right.
And hear the show every week. Some of you may be on Patreon. Some of you may not be on Patreon. And if you're one of those people that isn't on Patreon, may we recommend getting on our Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/filthycasualspod. Bonus episode every single week where we talk about movies and entertainment news and just random stuff. It's always a good time. Sometimes we kind of treat it like a talkback radio show where we pick a topic of discussion relevant to everyone's day-to-day lives. But it's a good time every single week, and there's also extra
a real
stuff.
reflection on where people's brains go. I mean, you know, there'll be like a huge new movie that's out, and we think everyone's talking about it. We really, you know, we make sure that we get out and we see it in that opening weekend so that we can like discuss it at length on the bonus episode. And you know, we'll put that out, and I'm sure people enjoy it, but we don't really hear anything off the back of it. People don't have all that much to say about Marty Supreme. Then, on the other hand, we'll have a discussion about what time should you eat dinner, and all of a sudden, the switchboard lights up with comments throughout the week.
But we also do a mailbag episode every single month. We do a special zone, which we've kind of started doing instead of doing our premium Bandcamp episodes where we pick a topic or a franchise and go deep on that once a month. It's we put a lot of effort into it. I think it's a good value proposition because you also get the continued existence of the regular show. So we would appreciate it if you jump on over there.
Yeah, well, speaking of good value propositions, something which may or may not be a good value proposition when it does eventually come out is Project Helix.
Yes.
The new Xbox console that was announced in much the same way as all of the great consoles. A tweet from the new head of the company saying, just had a meeting, my first proper week heading up the Xbox division, where we talked about a codename, Project Helix, which is our next console. The most bizarre way that a console has ever been revealed.
Yeah. There's a lot about this CEO and I guess the new structure. We've talked about it when it was announced that the great Phil Spencer was retiring. That it feels more LinkedIn speak than any other previous gaming sort of like Reggie Fils-Aimé. All of those people had very good sort of media training, public speaking. You know, they were very much we're a toy company and we present in a way that speaks to our audience, whereas a lot of the stuff in the past couple of weeks has felt very LinkedIn speak is the best way I can talk about it.
Well, just, rolling this reveal out as this official confirmation that they are working on a new console when speculation has been like, are they done with that? Are they going to move out of that ecosystem and just focus on Game Pass or publishing or whatever it is? I listened during the week, I know you've listened to this too, the episode of Triple Click from a couple of weeks ago where they broke down all this Xbox news, and I'd recommend people check that out. Yeah. Just a great podcast in general, but specifically the way they were able to speak to what this news actually means. And they talked a lot in that episode about this new Xbox CEO, whose name is... Let me get this up. Where is...
Asha Sharma. Asha Sharma, yes.
And how she is not... a lot was made about her being from the AI division of Microsoft, and they were sort of pushing back about people being a little miffed that she has said that she's not really a gamer. Right. She started playing games like a month ago when this job kind of started to crystallize. And people's response to that is often very gendered. Unfairly and negatively, of course, and I agree with that. And they were saying that, of course you don't need to be a gamer to be, the CEO of a company like this. And I don't know that I really agree with that, because they were giving examples of, men that have been in these jobs that have stated that they're, that they don't play games and that they don't get that pushback. And I agree that it does tend to be more gendered. But I also think that, in those cases as well, it just always seems weird to me. You wouldn't be, the head of a movie studio and be like, yeah, I've never seen a movie.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I don't need you to be, deep in the weeds and you don't need to be, a full-on Mountain Dew chugging. But it's it's hard to think of too many other creative businesses that you could be the head of a company that puts them out. Yeah. And it would be that you would be able to get that job with having basically zero idea about it. I don't know. It's a weird, and this tweet is feels like a very telling thing of not really understanding the conventions of how these things are rolled out. These are huge announcements generally, and again, not to say they don't need to function in that way. I think there is room to kind of mix up the delivery system of how this information comes out, but I don't know. It was an interesting discussion that they had, and I just thought in any other field, it would be a huge deal to have someone come out and be like, I've never engaged with this medium that now I'm in charge of. Yes,
and I think if anything, that can be criticized about it, it's there is it's not just a business, I think is the thing. You can't plug in someone who's been the CEO of a piece of software for online shopping and go, well, they clearly know how to do business well.
Yes.
And we'll just plug them in to be the CEO of Xbox, because it isn't the same. Even, the CEOs of Disney, as varied their success has been as that CEO. They are people who love film, they love animation, they are Disney lifers, in most cases, and they really deeply understand the fact that it isn't just a business, it is an entertainment medium, and like Disney of everything, it's about the magic of entertainment, of art. And at its best, games is that as well. And if if Xbox ever needed a re-injection of, the joy of playing games, a call back to, the first Xbox, the first Halo, the things that people love and remember about Xbox specifically, it's probably now, if you really want to release another actual console, maintain the brand, all of that stuff, it feels like tossing it off in a tweet about a meeting is, it shows kind of a lack of understanding about this specific industry, not just business, which I'm sure she's great at as a CEO, probably great with people, all of those things that you need to be. But yeah, there is something extra you need with this industry, I feel like.
I think you're right. I mean, getting someone in purely for their business acumen, I think does speak to how people are feeling about them as a company now. That you're right. Like, there's not that feeling of joy. And again, you're right. I do think like her credentials speak to like she's someone who would be good at running a business like this. And perhaps if this was like 20 years ago where you could like...
Yeah.
People weren't as across this kind of stuff. You wouldn't be making an announcement. You wouldn't be doing a blog post about it. It wouldn't be all over the news webs. People weren't following this stuff as much. So even if it wasn't like the CEO role, even if it was like someone quite high up, but you just like plug them in for their business sense and they just tick along in the background and, the people that are fans of this stuff, they're not across it.
Yeah.
So all that happens is just like the business runs better and that's great. But yeah, to really be like, check out who we've got in to do this whole thing. And it's kind of what I always feel about Xbox messaging being so all over the place where they do these streams where they try and speak directly to gamers and try and be like, we get it. I love playing games and I'm as excited as you are to play Starfield and all this kind of stuff. But then they just do like they do all this stuff that like they close studios because they're not bringing like this push and pull between them trying to like talk directly to their audience like they're one of their friends. And yet but you just can't escape the fact that they are a massive corporation that is doing stuff purely for the sake of business. So in that case, don't bother with all of the other shit. Just run it like a fucking corporation. Don't try and like hold this woman up front and center and be like, here she is. Like, how great's this? She's the head of AI and she's never played a video game before. It's like, why are we meant to feel psyched about that? Like, that's great for you. Like, cool, you'll make more profits, hopefully. Like, that's why you've gotten her in.
Yeah.
It's because you think she'll bring up the share value. But, like, I don't know why we at home are meant to care about this.
Yes, I feel like... and again, we don't know how effective she's going to be, but she has strong credentials, has been like very effective in all of her previous roles and, at various businesses. Bring her in, put out a media release, and then when you have a showcase, get Matt Booty up there, who's a developer, who's head of creative, and get him to talk about the games because he is clearly someone who's passionate. He's been there for such a long time. If you brought in a CEO to turn the ship around, that's great. But don't let him go off tweeting, any old nonsense like it.
The great example that they gave on Triple Click about the counterpoint to like why it perhaps does matter if someone is not, doesn't have that history of being interested in games is like, let's say you're her and you're looking at Double Fine and going like, why aren't they? What's this small little studio that's not really bringing in the money? This is not worth us having. Let's get rid of this. But anyone with any skin in the game goes, hey, that's Tim Schafer. He's a legend.
Yeah, he's an auteur. He's one of the few.
The optics of this, if we get rid of this studio, the blowback on us is going to be like a PR disaster.
Yes.
Like it is just not worth. It is not worth the money that we save. It's little things like that you can totally see, like, if you're someone who's just been brought in to, like, help out the business. But, yeah, I don't want that to sound like I'm piling on her. I just think it's not so much like Yeah, it's not so much her background or her expertise or anything. It's just the way that this news is rolled out and presented to the fan base, I guess.
Yeah, it's
anyway.
I think it's interesting. Like you said. We don't know how well or how poorly this is going to go. It's at the point where it's fun to speculate. I hope it goes great. I do think maintaining the existence of consoles is one of the, like, you have to do that if you want this brand to still exist and have any value whatsoever. And also including PC games. So this was something that I was thinking about, this announcement. So Project Helix, very sort of offhandedly mentioned in a tweet, but has kind of followed up being like, yes, this is our next big console generation. We'll talk about it a lot more at... is GDC the next thing that's coming up? I think... yeah,
I can never remember, but yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they have like a big session at GDC, I think in a couple of days from when we're recording, so they will talk a lot more about what this next generation is going to be, but yeah, I think it's a good move, and I think including PC games on it is a great way to kind of solidify existing Xbox people, because it suggests like, okay, well, if you already have an Xbox, maybe you have a PC, maybe it's getting a bit on in age. By the next Xbox, you get access to all of your Steam games, all of your old Xbox games, and any new ones. So
yes,
I mean, hey, I can think of worse strategies. Like that's great.
Yes. Yeah, that is the real headline, is that them saying it's going to be a Xbox hybrid PC thing. Which I wonder how much of... I mean, that's got to be like a deliberate response to looking at the Steam Deck and the Steam Machine and being like, okay, well, all of our stuff is available on PC, and so if people are going to be buying these things to play our games on, why don't we... Because it's not going to go... If we have, like, our Xbox stuff is available, like, natively on this console, and so our ecosystem stuff is like a little more native and a little easier. You can't really easily get Game Pass going on a Steam Deck. Like, you can do some workarounds, but
it's not the ideal
way.
way.
A direct, easy thing to set up. Like, you kind of need to do a lot of like back end bullshit. So yeah, if the power of them is like fairly comparable, and you can transfer all your Steam stuff over, and then all that Game Pass stuff is just natively there.
Yeah.
I mean, that would tempt me. The Steam Machine was sort of appealing to me as something that would maybe replace my PC. But if this thing pans out and it has those benefits, then it might get me back in the ecosystem. If I was already thinking about wanting to be able to have my PC library on the TV, if I can do that and have Game Pass as well and be back in on that world, then that does seem like the kind of the smartest move.
Yeah, and it is very good timing because people have already started thinking about it with the Steam Machine and being like, oh, actually, maybe I want to play all of my PC games from my couch on my giant TV with a good controller. That's already kind of in the ether, and then this almost, trumps the whole thing by being like, and it's Xbox, every Xbox game, every game on your Xbox account that, is backwards compatible, like all of that shit's going to be on here. The Epic Game Store is going to be on there, so your Fortnites, all of that stuff will be on this future Xbox. I think it's a smart move. The one thing that has really let them down for about 10 years is their games, and they've got to fix that as well. Because it's not enough to just have a good machine.
Which again, like if you're in this point where you're thinking about, it's all business and you are getting this person in who's very corporate to clean up the business, I don't know. I don't know if that does lead to acquiring small, cool studios and letting them actually make games. Like that is the huge problem that they've had, and I think it's just incredibly short-sighted because you need games. Yeah, that's how you get people to opt in.
And often with these studios that they acquire and then shutter, those people are still they want work, they need work. They often go off and start new studios, and they probably have a very negative opinion about Microsoft, and so they're going to be much more likely to work closely with Nintendo on releasing their game, work with Sony, I mean, maybe just release something to Steam, which kind of doesn't matter now because Xbox is just going to swallow that up and, allow it to be on their console. But it's not building goodwill.
I mean, I don't quite know why it has to work that way. Like, not just we're ending our relationship with you. Like, we're coming to the end of this contract of us financing what you were doing. You're now free agents if you want to find someone else. Like, the fact that it's just like, they get completely shut down.
Yeah.
And then there's no more of their games for anyone. I mean, I think that's what makes it hard to, like, they don't want any of the competition to be able to get them. Like,
yes.
That's what really makes it seem like a decision that is not born out of being gamers, because you're like, if you love what they've made, you're like, hey, it's not the right fit for us at the moment, or we don't have the funds to justify this. But hey, it's not like we want Rareware to never be making games ever again.
Yeah.
So parallel to this, this is something we talked about last week that had been speculated about on that Triple Click episode. I guess Schreier kind of had the inside tip on this, but was like it hadn't been announced yet, so he was not able to kind of formally say. But Sony are going to stop bringing their first-party games to the PC.
Yeah.
I think they've potentially seen how that strategy has hurt Xbox more than it's helped them. I guess they're also just not getting the return that they want on those games being on the PC.
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently, like, because it costs money to port them, I assume they're looking at, sort of the margin of revenue and being like, no, that's not worth it because it's potentially undercutting sales of our consoles, which are, that's the main thing. We want people to buy a PS5, so they buy their games through the PS Store, so we get a cut of that, so that, they aren't spending more time on the PC and other shop front, like all of that stuff is fed into it.
I would assume it's also just things like, that's a whole chunk of the team that has to be working on that.
Sure.
As opposed to like potentially developing some DLC or working on like, update improvement patches for the base game of it. Like if you're just doing the one thing, then it's like, you can have all hands on deck for that. And if you're not getting the return on it, like, I don't know how it's. I don't know if they've ever put the numbers out, but I can't imagine there's too many people that are like that fanging to play Last of Us that haven't at some point opted in on a PlayStation for that very reason.
Yes, and then there's also the fact that they come out like a year to 18 months after the original one, where a lot of the hype has died down. I think they've just decided this isn't a good strategy for us, and certainly if the Steam machine and the Xbox in the next generation can play our games on them, that's just another way to undercut our position in the market and our brand and all of that stuff. So, why would we release, Spider-Man 3 on PC when you can play that on the next Xbox? Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense for them.
It's really interesting how, like, people, I think, probably consumers are probably like more keen on this idea of a true like monoculture thing where like one umbrella company owns everything.
Right.
Because you think about like back in the day when we were kids and we'd go to the movies, it'd be like the Universal logo at the front of it, or like, whatever, the Columbia TriStar logo at the front of it. And it's like, you sort of knew what they meant, but it doesn't really, it doesn't mean anything to you, really. Like, you're just going to the movies to see the movie. And I think we now, as people that follow this stuff fairly closely and I guess like have skin in the game of people that we know trying to pitch stuff, or we're trying to pitch stuff, like, it is bad. You're seeing it at the moment, like creators are freaking out about this idea that everything is just owned by one umbrella corporation.
Yes.
That has like the one same like principle and ideology and whatever, and if they don't agree with what you're doing, then there's no idea of like one funky little avenue over here where you can go and do this, and like it's all got to fall into line.
Yes.
Like it is
certainly when it's
bad.
Paramount and they
exactly
like actively censor artists. It's
So it is a little scary in that sense, but if you're not someone that's, tapped into that, you don't care too much about it. From a consumer point of view, this world that we live in now, it's like, hey, it's just one subscription fee for the month for all of this shit. And I think that's what people... You know, you see online, people want like, oh, Nintendo should stop making consoles, and then they start, you know, everything should just be on everything.
Yeah,
and it's like,
no exclusives. Exclusives are bad for consumers, and it's like only in the short term. Only if you don't think about 5 years down the track when one company owns every development studio and they can shutter them at will. They can like have full control over the content of games. They can censor stuff. They can refuse to release stuff. They can only put their money into the 3 biggest earners. Like those are the things that I feel like people just don't consider when they're thinking about, like you say, a sort of a more generalized, open sort of space as a result of a monopoly. Like people have said that about,
it'd be great to live in a world where we pay $10 for a box that's in the house that gets everything on it for the rest of time. Yeah, that would be sick. But it's like, it's just kind of like as you say, the downfall of that is it's not. Yeah, in the short term, it's incredible, but it leads to a long-term landscape that is just. I mean, even you think about like a cool beer that you really like from a little brewery that gets bought out by CUB, and then it's like just all of these taps just taste exactly the same.
Yes.
And there's like one funky thing that you really like, and it's like that's kind of what it all turns into. It's just all made in the same plant with just like a slightly different label on it.
That's it. Sure, it might be nice to only have to pay $10 to access every video game released, but what if they're all bad? Then it's better to not pay $10 at all. And then, I think we can talk about this more on the bonus episode because it's actually actively happening with film at the moment and film and television. But I think having exclusives has clearly furthered the development and the competition between the existing development companies and platforms, and the fact that Xbox hasn't just had any good exclusives for a long time is bad and has hurt them and has potentially hurt the industry as a whole. So, all of this is fascinating, and it seems like the next generation is going to be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Well,
pretty good.
I imagine our thoughts on, capitalism and people's rights to entertainment and whatever else may have infuriated a few people listening. And so while we're in these murky waters, let's wade even further in and talk about a fascinating little curiosity of a news story this week. Yes. So Pokemon Pokopia is out now. We'll talk about it in a little bit. And people online, obviously anything Pokemon related, there's always a lot of chatter online. And a certain Oval Office, a certain white-ish house.
Yes.
I'd say it's more cream.
Yeah,
I don't look at it and think of it as like, it's not pure white.
It's a beige. It's the beige that your landlord paints your walls generally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They decided to get on board the hype of Pokemon Pokopia, and they put a meme out on the at White House account on social media. It's the box art of Pokemon Pokopia, but in place of the logo, it says "Make America Great Again."
Ugh.
And the Pokemon Company had to come out, which they've had to do before. Do you remember there was like was it like a recruitment ad or something? And it was using the "Gotta Catch 'Em All." It was using like the theme song.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So the second time they've had to do this to this administration, which to my knowledge they've never had to come out to any other administration.
I don't think so.
And weigh in on where the Pokemon Company sits in regards to politics.
No, I don't know if Obama ever listed one of the Pokemon games on his end of year lists that he likes to do. But even
I don't think he used like oddish in the ad for Obamacare. And they had to go like, hey, we actually want people to get sick and die. We're not. We don't have anything to do with this. Yeah. They had to come out and go, hey, this was not affiliated with us, where we want everyone to, just basic. It's very dry. It's very just like They're not even specific about exactly what it is, but they're just like, hey, we didn't have anything to do with
Yeah,
this.
we didn't give permission for this. They do say our mission is to bring the world together, and that mission is not affiliated with any political viewpoint or agenda.
Yes.
We've only ever had to come out and say it about Trump, but we're just saying, we would have said it if Obama had listed it on his end-of-year best books list.
They didn't clap back at when Hillary Clinton said Pokemon go to the polls, which did tremendous damage to the left and to the Pokemon brand.
Yes, this is true.
But the Trump administration using Pokemon for clout or something, it's like Pokemon is the most like it is such a like beloved property in like the queer spaces and like the idea that you would be like a full-on right-wing Trump supporter and that you love Pokemon, just say, like, I would love to know how many people exist in that space. I can't imagine that it's too many. And again, like, it felt like, just being like, oh, they're still using Make America Great Again?
Right.
Like, this is like this, what is it, like the 7th total year of him being in office? Like, if you still think it's not great, then there's no one to point the finger at anymore. There's no one else that you can be like, hey, we got to get in there and fucking fix this shit up. It's like, no, it's your boy. It is your boy that's doing, like, the week that they've gone to war, they're like, Make America Great. It's like,
with Pokemon.
With Pokemon.
Well, I saw this when I was kind of, scanning the headlines this morning. They also put out a video promoting the war in Iran. That's the White House, not Pokemon.
Pokemon go to war with Iran.
And I actually think I saw it come up. Someone must have posted it, like reposted it or edited it on Instagram or something. But it is a montage of like Iron Man, Call of Duty. I think they're using a Childish Gambino song in it. It's fucked. Like they are the 4chan White House at this point. Like they are. It's really, we are living in a parallel dimension at this point. It's crazy.
I mean, it really speaks to. It's so funny how like once a week an artist has to come out and be like, please don't use my song. I didn't give you permission to do that. I think all of your views are abhorrent. I do not want my music used. And it's like they must know when they're putting these things together. Like, I don't think Childish Gambino's a Republican. And it also, like, what does that tell you if it's like all of the art that you're using to like push your message out? Like, it's all like left-leaning people that like the very few people that are on your side of the fence, like their music is dog shit. Like, what does that tell you?
True. They're not using like a Ben Shapiro developed film and like Kid Rock's Ba With Da Ba Ba to fucking hype it up. All of your stuff sucks. But just another an insane chapter in the past 10 years of the world.
100%. At the very least, if you're gonna co-opt that box art to make your little, I would imagine most people that saw that were like, what the hell is this? Give us a video of Donald playing Pokopia. You know what I mean? Like at the very, if you're gonna co-opt it, then go all in. Get him doing a Let's Play. Get him on Twitch. Get him on Twitch doing a 12-hour stream. Planning a little habitat for a Squirtle. Like at least back yourself. At least make the full use of it. If they're going to come after you, then jump right in the pool, I say.
I love that little oddish guy. He's funny. He's like a little sprout. He's got a little grass hair.
Gotta catch him all.
Gotta catch him all. Gotta catch him all.
The Pokemon are saying they've never seen a trainer like this.
I've created the most wonderful habitat for these little guys. They love it.
I remember I was playing Pokemon Red and Blue, and folks, you never believe it. This Pokemon called Mew, he just came right up to me. Other people, they had to go to the shopping center. They had to get him from the little kiosk that Nintendo put on, but not me. He respected me so much that Mew presented himself to me and said, "It would be an honor. It would be an honor to be caught by you."
I like Charmander. I like the Charizard. I said, "You're fire."
Oh, yes. Well, that riff was brought to you by my eroded brain. And it's been compromised by the fact that I have been regularly staying up until about 1 a.m.
Oh,
over
boy.
the last few days, playing a wonderful new game called Pokemon Pokopia.
Yep, you and the White House are just fully aligned, hand in glove with your appreciation of this fantastic new game. But I have to say, so am I. I am loving this game. We got really hyped for it. Kind of the more that was released about it, the more excited we got. It is out. It is the game that apparently is convincing more people than ever to get a Switch 2. I guess there is such a big Pokemon fan base that may have been, sticking around on the Switch 1. Apparently this is converting a lot of people to it.
I think this is going to be huge, and it feels like it's there's certain, obviously like a new Zelda or a new Mario, they're going to be massive, they're going to shift units. But I think people were a little like, I don't know, we were both interested in this, but I think it did potentially seem like it was the fact that it's like just Pokemon, it's just Animal Crossing with Pokemon slapped on.
Right.
I sort of thought, I don't know which way it's going to go. I could see it maybe being like a 7 out of 10, like kind of fun, but a little surface level. And so I think it's the joint highest rated Pokemon of all time on Metacritic.
Yep.
Mainline games included. The spin-offs all have like a pretty up and down.
Yeah.
Like some of them are very well received, others not so much. But yeah, I think this is the one that's come out and people are like, oh fuck, it's a new Animal Crossing and it's a really good Pokemon. I mean, for me, this is like something that we've talked about a lot, especially in the last week with the reveal of the next mainline Pokemon. This feels like a more successful job of like what you want those main games to feel like, of living in this world that is populated with this world feeling believable and real. And even though it's going for a more Minecrafty, cartoony, stylized sort of look than the mainline games are tending to, it all just feels more believable. Like, you're running around with these little guys. So basically what this game is, if you've not seen any of the, press or other reviews, it is a life sim. It is Animal Crossing / Dragon Quest Builders. It's made by the people who make Dragon Quest Builders. You are a Ditto who's lost his owner and kind of transforms into him, takes this human form on, and you are in this sort of ruined wasteland that is the towns from the first ever Pokemon game, where humans have disappeared. You meet a Tangrowth who is like, I don't know where everyone went. And so you're going around and you're rebuilding these towns using the help of little Pokemon that you get to come to your town by making little habitats for them. And that little element for me is like probably the thing that I'm like most hooked into about it. Like, you'll walk around and you'll get like, there'll be a little glowing tile, and if you go and interact with it, it'll say like, oh, there's a trace of a Pokemon here. And it'll show, and then you get like a little bit of information about a habitat, and it'll show you what you need to create to make that habitat, and then it'll tell you like how many different types of Pokemon like that habitat. So in the early stages, it's just things like if you have 4 little blocks of grass all next to each other in any configuration, that's one. If you have grass that's next to water, if you have grass that's under a tree, if you have grass that's near a rock, getting more and more elaborate the further in you go to where it's like a table that's got some knitting, wool and knitting needles on it and things like that. So some of it is quite easy that you just have the power to like make in the environment, and then others are like there'll be items that you need to like craft and put them all next to each other. And so you always know, like it'll show you in your little Pokedex thing like the habitat of like say the grass that has like maybe 8 different types of Pokemon that can appear there. It'll show you how many of them you've found. And so last night I kind of remembered that that's a function and went, oh, I should go and like make new habitats of all the ones that I haven't gotten all of the little guys that can appear there yet.
Right.
So I just kind of went around working my way through it. I'm like, oh, there's 2 Pokemon that I haven't found that appear at the grass that's next to the water. So I'll go and make 2 of them. And then probably when I come back tomorrow, there'll be all these little extra guys there waiting for me.
Yeah. I really like the the way that they've incorporated that habitat stuff because, I don't like you've known in previous games like go to this area there'll be a Pokemon, but the fact that this is tied into the Animal Crossing sort of rebuilding the world. Like it's very similar in Animal Crossing. It's like there's weeds everywhere, but in this, it's like the ground is all brown, and there's like little flower patches that are all brown and dried out, and old dead grass. And because you're a Ditto, I guess because you're a Ditto, you acquire the powers of various Pokemon as you encounter them and add them to your little village. So you start similar to getting a spade and a fishing rod and all that stuff in Animal Crossing. You get your like watering the ground, adding or creating grass, chopping logs, like and they're all like typical Pokemon attacks and stuff from the games. And so you get these little habitats in your Pokedex, and as you said, you can build them, you can discover more Pokemon. And then, there's also this more Animal Crossing-esque, like, just rebuilding the area that you're in and watering trees so that they regrow and you can get berries from them, which you can eat yourself because you run out of, what would you call it, AP? Is that AP in the Pokemon games?
It's PP. It's like a stamina bar thing. So those, like, special moves that you've got to, like, build, plant grass or water trees, like, smash down rocks, you're, like, depleting an energy meter, and so every now and then you need to eat a carrot or a berry or whatever. And that, like what you just mentioned, the like when you turn up into an area and it's just like barren, and you go and like water a tree stump, and then it blossoms into this like big beautiful tree. It's so satisfying.
It really is. Like
even like running around my town last night and just remembering like, this was all just mud when I started the game. And it's like starting to, and there'll be like a brick path that's all got chunks taken out of it. And so you're like repaving that and like putting the little like lining on the edge of it. And there's bits where there's like a bit of a mountainy thing that's kind of like grown over it. And so you're smashing those rocks back to get it all looking a bit more uniform and nice and tidy it up. Like you can do whatever you want with it. You can tear all that shit down and completely build it anew. But like, I really like that it's got these like little ruined remnants that are giving you like a bit of a clue and a bit of a guide of like this big chunk of rock and stuff is not meant to be here. So bash this down. And if you're someone, I kind of struggle with these games, like the way that some people play them, where they're just like, they get these grand ideas of like this huge crazy stuff that they can build. I sort of struggle with that side of it, of like knowing kind of, I don't know, where to go and what to do in that regard. Like I like that it gives you like a bit of guide of like, hey, if you just want to restore this to what this town was meant to look like. Right. Here's the clues of where this stuff is all sort of meant to go. Yeah, and then yes, the Pokemon themselves, they turn up like in the habitats. You just talk to them and they're like, hey, I'm going to hang out here. But then they will give you little requests and little, they'll start interacting with the other Pokemon. You build them like little beds to start with. Then you build them like little houses, little leaf huts. You build yourself a house. And also building itself is like you have to have found a builder type Pokemon, and then you assign Pokemon to it. So there's almost this like light, I guess very Animal Crossing, but also kind of city builder-esque like allocation of resources. Everything takes real time as well. So like you say, it's using the clock. So like when you're playing at night, it's at night. There's certain Pokemon that only come out at night. You'll start building something, and it'll be like, this will be ready at 11 a.m. or whatever. Like it gives you like a real time thing to do. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go like, it's crazy that this didn't exist yet. Like it just seems like such an obvious like natural fit. But I think like what's great about this game, it's not just that like, oh cool, I'm playing Animal Crossing with Pokemon. It's that it would have been easy enough to just slap on like, oh yeah, you're a trainer and true. But the fact of it being a Ditto, so it like justifies like instead of just getting tools, like you're turning into these Pokemon. And that meaning that because you're a Pokemon, you're like talking to the other Pokemon and having little conversations with them. So it's not like a thing where you're having to come up with a conceit of like, why are they all talking English? It's just like, you're in this world. And I think it is such a genius move to make it that it's this like this ruined landscape. Not just a ruined landscape, but that it's like this nice little Easter egg thing from the first games. Like you go to these areas where you're like, I mean, I haven't even interacted with those first games for a very long time, but you're like, oh, cool, yeah, I know this area.
Yeah.
It's such a nice touch, and just this like, kind of like, everything is so cute and cheery, and the Pokemon are like, I love you, you're my best friend.
Yes.
But then there's this like undercurrent of like, humans are all dead.
Yeah.
You're like walking through a wasteland. Yep. And it's truly like, it's very like Werner Herzog, like, only now that the humans have gone can nature truly flourish.
Yes.
Like the idea that you're bringing this environment back to life because people aren't around. It just gives it this like really like cool, like ominous sort of feel to it that I love so much more than if it was just like, oh, we've found this like land that humans haven't made it to yet, and I have to be the one to... I just think it's like creatively the thing that it's wrapped in is just such a great decision in the way that they've done it. Like they've just executed it perfectly. Because there's a version of this that would have just been like, who gives a fuck? Like it literally is. It feels very Animal Crossing in its presentation and a lot of the sound effects and stuff. But I feel like pretty quickly once you get into it, it does distinguish itself quite a lot. I mean, for starters, it just moves so much faster.
Yes.
The world that you're in is so much bigger. There's an actual objective and a little story and a little thread to kind of pull at to keep yourself going along if you do just want to follow it along. I really love the kind of almost like Resident Evil style like notes and memos that have been left behind.
Yes.
Where you're getting these little glimpses into the world of the trainers that used to be there and stuff. It is very like, maybe it's just because I just played a Resident Evil.
Very
but
Last
it's really
of Us.
reminding me of that little like, and just like you do the first area and then you're kind of in these little biomes and you have like a little gate on either end that you discover that you have to get your little town up to a certain level in order to be able to go through the gate. And once you do that in the first area, you get access to both of those gates at the same time. So you can kind of go and work on the next two sides kind of concurrently if you want to. And I went and did one for a little bit, and then I went to the second one, which is this like abandoned beachside town where bits of it are flooded. That's something I'm loving doing. There'll be like a little ravine or a little river that's like dry and empty, and you can see up on the wall there's like a there'll be like a block that you can see water dripping out of, and so if you punch through it, it'll make a little waterfall and it'll fill up the river.
Yeah, and it'll turn
conversely
the surrounding areas a bit green, and
and conversely, like you'll find a place that's flooded, so if you put some blocks down and you kind of stem the flow of water, it stops the flooding. This area that I'm in is like, it's kind of clouded over and it's like really dark. There's no power, and you can find like, you can get like there's like a windmill that you can get going, and you can attach utility poles to it that give electricity.
Oh,
if you string enough of them together in a row, then you get these like huge street lights, and that's how you bring light back to this little village. There's also like bridges and roads that aren't there that you're having to repave. So now I'm like doing some like very light Death Stranding style stuff of like I really like how it's like, not sure how deliberate that is as a touchstone, but like it having these, it's fun to think of a kid playing this game and then them getting more into games and down the line interacting with something like a Death Stranding or a Resident Evil and being like, oh, this is cool. This is like the stuff that was in Pokopia. It's like one of the first games that I really played.
Which honestly, like that's also was the appeal of the original Pokemon's, was like it's a JRPG for kids. It's not like, I mean, it's slightly easier, it's slightly shorter, but the mechanics are there, the vibe is there, and then you end up graduating to like a Dragon Quest, to a Final Fantasy. I'm really enjoying it as well. I haven't had as much time to sink into it as you, because I have still been playing Resident Evil Requiem, but I am loving that first biome. I'm loving the way it kind of feels like a resource management game as well as a Pokemon game, as well as an Animal Crossing. It has so much going on, so many different things in it that are executed so well that they can appeal to, many different kinds of gamers.
It's cool. And like you mentioning there, I think that's an interesting point that like the mainline Pokemon games, they are like the sort of entry level JRPG. But this almost feels like it's the opposite, where this feels a lot more expansive to me than your general life sim kind of game.
Right.
Like, I know those games are all, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like a scaled down version of that.
No.
It sort of feels like it's got more in it because there's like there's like a quest line that is like 40 hours long, apparently. You've got this like extra element of like, getting the Pokemon to come to the little habitats is like a neat little twist that is like an extra little thing that is on top of this kind of game generally. I was thinking about how, I don't think this game needs any more in it. Like, I'm loving it as it is, but it is really interesting to think about how there's so many elements in this that would be so well served in like a mainline Pokemon game that, as we talked about last week, it just doesn't seem like they'll ever do. And I was thinking about how like, well, maybe that is like a bit of a big ask. And then I was thinking about like the Yakuza games, which have effectively done this.
Yes.
Like they have this, like they have a version of Pokemon in there. They have this incredibly satisfying story-driven game that you can just do that if you want. They have all these little they have like racing in there. The last one has its own little Animal Crossing thing. Like, it's fun to think about, like, let's say for whatever reason Ryu Gotoku got given the Pokemon contract.
Oh, yes.
And they, you could do it. You could make a version of this game with the Legends games, with the mainline game, with Pokemon Snap. Like, you could make a version of Pokemon that has all of these disparate spin-offs in it in the one thing, and then it's like, truly this is the game where we are living in the Pokemon world and doing like all of it at once would be so cool.
Oh, man.
But
no,
I don't think we'll ever get it. And we got this, which is, I think,
it's close to that. It's as close to that as you can get without having, a trainer doing battles, right? It's almost everything else that you could possibly want. I
think we talk about this a lot with these games, that it's like they mechanically are also similar. It's really the wrapping that is the thing that like gets you over the line. And for me, this is just really hit in terms of like, I love how it looks and feels to run around in. The sound design is great, and just the flavor of like, I also think like, setting it in the first ever Pokemon world, and so many of those first ones that you're finding are from those first games. Like the first 3 guys that come along are the 3 starters from those first games. So all of a sudden it's like, cool, I've got this little field where I've got a little Bulbasaur and a Charmander and a Squirtle running around.
And they're all friends.
Like, they're all friends. They all love me. They all fucking love me.
Yes. All I've got to do is feed them a berry every now and then. But but
it's totally got that like that crack feeling of just like anytime you're doing anything, there's also 3 other little things ticking away in the back of your head where you're like the first day of playing it, I was up pretty late and then I was in bed and I couldn't sleep because I was just thinking about like, I could go and do this and I want to do this and I want to set this up. Like, it's really great. And I think it feels like it sort of was maybe not on people's radar all that much. That is, it's fun to think about like if this came out in the pandemic, like, I think it would have at least been as big as Animal Crossing. It could have been bigger.
Yes.
Because it's got this brand that is already big in the West. That's not like having to establish itself in the way that Animal Crossing was.
Totally. And you're right. It is like, if you've ever played Animal Crossing, great, because you've got one level of what this game is doing kind of under your belt, and you can approach it with that knowledge and that experience, and then you go, but also I've got to manage these 3 things going on. I've got to the exploration is another thing entirely, where you can just go find little bits and pieces, and like you say, little books, little notebooks, and little the Pokeballs will have little fun items and things in them, recipes for crafting, all of that stuff. There's just so much going on, and you're right. There's always this direction that is pointing you towards. There's always go and talk to the professor. They'll remind you what your next actual goal is. The Pokemon centers, the ruined Pokemon centers have, challenges within them, daily challenges, and also just ongoing challenges, which always give you something to kind of tick off that checkbox list of like, pick up 15 twigs, pick up 20, there's just so much to do, but I don't think it ever feels overwhelming because it's all just like at your own pace. It's relaxed. You're just building up a town.
The fact that it's like, which is something that Dragon Quest Builders did too, like it's very segmented up into these little biomes that are all like, they've got like a kind of central area and then they do stretch off in these bigger directions when you really want to go crazy and have a house everywhere and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So it always feels like quite contained. And then, when you go to the next biome, they're so unique from one another. Like even just from the first one to the second one, being on this like cool beachside town that immediately all the stuff that you're finding and the stuff that you're putting together and the stuff that you're being asked to do is like so different that all of a sudden a few hours in, it feels like a completely different game. And so it's exciting to think about like, what are the other areas that are waiting in the rest of this game and how different are they all going to feel from one another? You do want to see like what's the next environment that I'm going to be in and what are the little habitats I'm going to have to make. Really good game. Especially, it kind of reminds me a little bit of having that run where Bonanza and Death Stranding 2 were out at the same time, and what a fun two they were to play in tandem because I finished Resident Evil Requiem.
Oh, yes.
And, it might be my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there.
Yeah.
It's got like the Grace segment is almost like its own little thing, and then kind of everything that happens from there is like very like it's very segmented.
Yep.
It doesn't really have that thing that a lot of them have had where it's like one big area and then like a little addendum kind of thing that's like the climax of the game. You do then go through these like, I don't know how many it is, but a few sort of smaller little chunks that are doing little versions of that. But they're all just so good.
Yeah.
They're so fun and satisfying. Even when you get into an area that's a little like, anytime they do stuff in these games that's in like a lab, in like a, a very official kind of building, I always feel like, I want to be in a ruined old house. When they chuck you somewhere that's very sterile, it's just immediately just feels less interesting to me. But then even in those segments, they bring in a cool new little mechanic that's like, this is just really fun to fuck zombies up with this new thing that I've been given. So, okay, if it gives me that, I'm okay with this little chunk.
Yeah, and I think, because I think the last time we sort of checked in about it, you had just finished it and I had just got out of the first main area. And I was like, this is great. The first 4 hours of the game feels like it all feels very familiar and it all feels somewhat repetitive in what it's doing up until then. It's basically you'll play as Grace, you'll get to a big sort of story point, and then you'll play as Leon for like 20 minutes. And then you'll go back to Grace and I was loving it. But it was certainly familiar as someone who's played the remake of 2 and 3, the remake of 4, 7 and 8. It was like, okay, this is all like kind of a remix of all of that stuff in a great way, in a very nostalgic way, in a way that was like, they've taken the best of the franchise and put it all together. And then it starts throwing different stuff at you more and more as you go along. Different plot beats, new characters, more puzzle solving, more kind of like big enemy chasing you throughout new area where you've got to find this thing, bring it over, all of that stuff. But it's new areas and it's tighter and it's more, I think, exciting because you're not just left in one big building for 4 hours. And then it escalates in a whole other way where the entire style of the game completely flips on its head and the focus is something completely different and is almost very reminiscent of something like The Last of Us, having mentioned that just before. Like it almost had me thinking like, oh yeah, this is like more of what I already know about Resident Evil. And then it changes it up again, and then it changes it up again. And I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I've put more time into that than I have Pokopia because it's just great. It's playing a AAA game like this that nails everything about it is so refreshing kind of these days. We only get a few of them every year. And and
it doesn't overstay its welcome as well. Like even when it's doing something that is like a throwback to the older game, I think a lot of people would have been happy, and I'm sure they would have found a way to do this satisfyingly if the whole game had have been that first Grace segment. Sure. But I think it's such a smart move to do that, do it really well, have that be a small slice. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And then the actual, the breath of fresh air in the game is how neatly it is doing all of these different little chunks and how it ties them all together and how you're having all these like different play styles and different things that you're going back and forth between. It's so, I like that they've, to my knowledge at least, they've never really blown out the runtime of these games. They pretty much have always stayed at the same length, which I think just takes so much restraint to just be like, yeah, this is what we know we can do really well. I could have played this for another like 10 hours happily. Right. I'm sure they could have, put more stuff in there and maybe have some of these areas be a bit bigger. But I mean, I love just getting a tight little 10-hour thing that like everything in it is so fun and fine-tuned. And I think it's like you're already really enjoying it. And then there's one bit in there in particular that if you've played this bit, you know what it is, where you go, yeah, this game is fucking awesome. There's one little sequence that comes out of nowhere that is just like... But I think, you're so right about the Last of Us thing. There's a bit in particular that is a chunk that is like very Last of Us. Yep. And I wonder, like... I feel like Resident Evil would have been obviously a reference point when they were working on Last of Us. Yeah. Just by virtue of the fact that it's the big zombie video game. And it's funny to see them now fold the Last of Us moves back into this series. It's so fucking good. Yeah.
I'm excited to finish it off. It just feels like a blockbuster game. And I think it's because it doesn't go for 100 hours as well. It's tight. It's only good shit. It's all killer, no filler, basically. Yep.
Leon, once again, with some of the great lines of all time. So great.
Yeah. And now he's almost, I guess he's kind of Gen X, isn't he? He's not quite a boomer, but he has kind of dad joke vibes. Big time. Great game. I will talk more next week about Slay the Spire 2, which I was at a dinner the other night, and that was one of the topics of conversation. People are loving this game already. It's like, by reports, it's sold heaps in early access. It's kind of the other massive game of the moment, but and I have played some of it. I'm loving it. I will talk about it more next week, as well as a couple other things on the docket. But I think that's us for this week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to do us. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals, what's that? We've built the podcast habitat.
Thanks, Tommy. You're my best friend.